Disney has been on a losing streak, and I love to see it because they don't deserve the money they expect consumers to shove out for their awful products, and now their latest reboot, Haunted Mansion, has absolutely bombed at the box office. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media so you can see when my content is posted, and of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. So yes, as you can see, Discussing Film has put up a tweet on this. People on social media are talking about this disastrous launch, but Haunted Mansion opened with 24.2 domestically, and the budget was 150 million. Now, this obviously had some major competition at the box office between Barbie and Oppenheimer, never mind other films that are still doing good at the box office, like Mission Impossible. So Disney launching this film right now was probably the worst move they could have made, because not only is the content in this movie seemingly terrible and the movie overall just wasn't good, but it garnered zero hype because people were already so hyped for all of these other major releases. They can't truly expect people to go and see 3 or 4 or 5 movies over the span of 2 to 3 weekends. That is just impossible for most people unless we are talking about the most dedicated moviegoers and the most dedicated fans of franchises. Disney should have looked at this and went, you know what, we need to change the release date for this at least by another week or two. But honestly, I don't even know if that was going to save it, because right now Disney is kind of in hell. People are very mad at them for all of the just genuinely bad content they're putting out, because half of it is filled with narratives and just woke content. But also, people are sick and tired of reboots and remakes, and that is what I think is a major issue here. If you don't know, this is actually based on a 2003 movie that starred Eddie Murphy, and it was fantastic. I mean, there are even rides at Disney World that are Haunted Mansion themed, and I think that's why they were really hoping a reboot would do a good job. But unfortunately for them, I think people have just moved past this franchise in general, or at least we don't want to see a reboot. If they had shoved Eddie Murphy in a movie like this, I'd be like, oh, I remember the 2003 one. Yeah, I'm kind of excited for that. But I honestly just didn't see any appeal with this, and nobody was talking about it on social media either, like, oh my god, this is finally releasing, I'm so excited, I can't wait. And the numbers are not good for this. I mean, as you can see, right now it's got 24.2 million domestic, which is extremely low, 9.1 million international, for a total worldwide score of $33.3 million. And for some reason, Box Office Mojo has not updated yet, so we do not know which other, regions this movie actually, sold tickets for internationally. I'm gonna assume primary markets are UK, maybe Australia, Japan, but we don't know. But either way, it does not matter, because the worldwide numbers for this are awful. And as it says, this had a budget of $150 million. I don't think they ever expected it to be, this large of a budget, but this film has been in development hell for years at this point. I mean, they really struggled with this film. This was an article from Screen Rant from a while ago. It said, despite the level of financial input that's clearly gone into Haunted Mansion, a sequel is far from certain. While Disney found success with Pirates of the Caribbean, a series that built such a rich world despite being based on a theme park ride, the studio has struggled with Haunted Mansion. The original '03 movie made 180 million worldwide, but that was still an underperformance in Disney's eyes given its 90 million production budget and its just as big marketing budget. So it really really makes no sense why they even decided to make a follow-up slash reboot now, except for the fact that, they have the ride based on it. They felt like, you know what, we're looking for IPs to dig back up and to reuse, and this just happen to be one of them. But as it says, a much darker reboot helmed by Del Toro then fell into development hell in the 2010s. However, Disney finally settled for a more straightforward family comedy led by Lakeith Stanfield that's due in 2023, which it just released, and it could lead to a Haunted Mansion sequel. There is no way that this is going to get a sequel now, but as you can see, it has been in development hell. They started planning this in the early 2010s, and they continued to lose people for this. They lost a few stars along the way, as far as I know, and well, I guess those people are probably very happy they didn't end up starring in this due to how poorly it's doing. But yeah, I just think that the major problem here that I can see is that it's a remake. People want new original content. There was no way to top the original Eddie Murphy film. Yes, this one has Owen Wilson and Danny DeVito, but they're not the leads, and the writing in this one is, from what I'm reading, nowhere near as good as the original. Paired with development hell and the competition it had at the box office, it was always bound to be a disaster. And heading on over to Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, these scores are all over the place. The verified audience is at an 85 and the all audience is at a 79, but keep in mind there really aren't that many ratings here. And of course, super fans are the ones going to see movies on release weekend, but the critic scores are a disaster. Now, I typically do not trust critics, but it seems even the shills did not like this. The all critic is at a 41% and the top critic is at a measly 27%. I mean, it cannot get much worse here. And I do think that some of the audience scores are a little bit suspicious, because people are giving it 5 stars, saying definitely not a cinematic masterpiece. But it's fun and well acted. Ignore the critic ratings and go see it. You will love it. So you're saying it's not perfect, but you gave it a perfect score. How does that even make sense? And of course, a lot of these are saying if you love Disneyland and Haunted Mansion, if you love the Haunted Mansion ride, if you love going to Disney and, doing the haunted ride, all of them, or at least most of them, are praising the ride itself. So clearly they have some nostalgia for Haunted Mansion in general, which is okay. I'm glad that some people loved it, but it just doesn't deserve 5 stars just because you enjoyed the ride. But most of these are also saying, well, the movie was okay, it wasn't perfect. Then why give it a 5 star? I typically do not trust or even agree with critics, but in this case, it really seems like they are on point, which is shocking. Haunted Mansion captures many of the motifs and visuals of the classic dark ride, but fails to transcend those very visuals into a spooktacular film that demands viewing every October. It is a forgettable film that seems to be made by a conglomerate and not one person. This somewhat fun yet mostly unnecessary reboot isn't likely to provide the box office kick the House of Mouse needs. Unfortunately for them, they have faced loss after loss, fail after fail. I've talked about this recently, but a financial analyst had speculated that the Walt Disney Company had lost nearly $900 million at the box office in the past year, and this was before Dial of Destiny came out, which is speculated to lose them about $200 million, but also, you have to consider this now. I mean, this is already, it's $150 million budget. I don't even think they're going to hit that budget, meaning they expected 300 to 350 in that range minimum. They probably wanted like $500 million. So they're losing $150 million just with this movie alone. Disney has faced many problems over the years. They really need to go to the drawing board and look at the content that fans really want, because they just keep pushing out fail after fail after fail, and things are not getting any better for them with this type of content anytime soon. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.